Hello, this is Mrs. Workman. Graph f of x. F of x equals x plus 3 if x is greater than negative 2. F of x equals x minus 4 if x is less than or equal to negative 2. Identify the domain and range. F of x is what's known as a piecewise function because its definition has been given to us in pieces, this time 2. So what we're going to do first is we're going to graph the first piece, which says that f of x is equal to x plus 3 if x is greater than a negative 2. For just a minute, I'm going to ignore that x is greater than negative 2, just until we can get this line graphed. We notice that the line's equation is already in the slope-intercept form, which tells us that the slope is 1 or 1 over 1, and that the y-intercept is 3. So the y-intercept is right here, and a slope of, let me go and use a different color here. Here we go, so you can see a little bit better. Here's the y-intercept, and the slope is 1 over 1, so that would be 1 up, 1 to the right. And if we draw the line that has that slope and that y-intercept, it's going to look like this. Okay, however, we're told that f of x is equal to x plus 3 if x is greater than negative 2, which means right here x is negative 2. We're allowed all these x values, which means we were allowed all these corresponding y values, but none of these. So I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to erase this part of the line, and I'm going to put a circle around this point, all right, because that can't be included in the graph because that's the point that has an x-coordinate of negative 2, and we're told that we can only use the x's that are greater than negative 2. And so when we graph this piece of the function, this is what we get. Alrighty then. We're ready for the second piece, which tells us that f of x is equal to x minus 4 if x is less than negative 2. Again, I'm just going to ignore that for a moment till I get this line graphed. The coefficient of x is 1. Again, this is in the slope-intercept form. The coefficient is 1. So our slope is 1 over 1. And our y-intercept is negative 4. So 1, 2, 3. Here's our negative 4. Here's our negative 4. And a slope of 1 over 1 would be 1 up, 1 to the right. So let's draw in the line that has that slope and that y-intercept. And that line would look like this. Now, f of x is equal to x minus 4 only if, or when, I guess I should say, when x is less than or equal to negative 2. So in other words, here's x is equal to negative 2. We're allowed to keep this point and all of these points because their x-coordinates would be less than negative 2. But we can't have this part of the line. And so we're going to take this part of the line away down to there. Graph f of x equals x plus 3 if x is greater than negative 2. F of x equals x minus 4 if x is less than or equal to negative 2. The graph of that piecewise function looks like this. Now we are to identify the domain and range. The domain refers to the x values. And if you would just in your mind's eye drop perpendiculars back from all those points to the x-axis, you would notice that eventually we would have perpendiculars being dropped onto the entire x-axis, which is made up of all real numbers. So the domain is the set of all reals. Okay, what about the range? The range refers to the y values. Again, if we drop perpendiculars back, and we keep in mind that this point would not be included because this x is not included. But if we go from there, notice that we have this portion of the y-axis. It would have all these perpendiculars drop to it. And then there's a bit of a gap, and then we're down here dropping perpendiculars back toward the y-axis again. So let's go to this portion. Those would be, if we go back here, it would have gone straight back to the point negative 2, 1. So we have the set of all y such that y would be greater than 1, or, okay, if we come back here, this would be the point with coordinates negative 2, negative 6, and we're allowed to have that one because we have that x, we have that corresponding y, so we have all the y's that are less than or equal to negative 6. So the domain of this piecewise function is the set of all reals. The range is the set of all y such that y is greater than 1 or y is less than or equal to negative 6.